Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to introduce my vlog reading Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. So I was lucky enough to get this a little bit earlier in the mail. So I received this book a couple days ago, but I was still finishing up another book. So I just started this yesterday, and I'm now on page 100. And I kind of am taking my time with this book because Abby Jimenez is becoming my favorite author. And I know that it's going to take a year for another full length novel to appear in my life, so I don't want to rush this book if I can help it. I actually did a vlog clip of me reacting to like the first couple of pages, which I'll leave here for you. I fucking love Abby Jimenez. I'm currently reading Say You'll Remember Me. I'm only on page 16. She's already made me laugh 3 times. Also, this hero is described literally as Rhysand from ACOTAR. What did he look like? Like if Rhysand from the ACOTAR series were a real person. Excuse you, I'm already in love. I also love the fact that he loves animals. He's a vet, and that he adopted a dog because the owner wanted to put the dog down, even though the dog was perfectly healthy. I'm just so happy to be reading an Abby Jimenez book again. I honestly think that she is my favorite author at this point. I love her stories. I love her sense of humor. Yeah. So yes, the main male character was described as Rhysand. I do have to say in the beginning, I enjoyed it, but then it got mentioned too much. So I don't know. I hope she lays off that vibe now, because a part of me does think that, ACOTAR and Sarah J. Maas is going to be popular for years and years and years to come. But as a general rule, I tend to not really love when other popular books get inserted or pop culture things get inserted into books. But, I'll make an exception if your main male character definitely looks like Rhysand. So this book you follow Xavier and Samantha. And I believe this is the start of a new series because already his friend group has been introduced and she has been known to write series, obviously. So I do think this is going to be the start of a new series. But anyway, Xavier is a veterinarian and Samantha works for a company where she does their social media. They don't get off on the right foot because she goes into his vet clinic with a stray kitten, and he tells her that this kitten was born without an anus. And basically he tells her that the best thing for this kitten is to be put to sleep. So she starts arguing with him, saying, I'm not going to do that. And he's telling her that you're just letting this kitten suffer. The only thing that could help potentially is a surgery, and there's really no chance that it will work, and it will also cost you $10,000. And he's kind of being rude about it. So she tells him that he's an asshole and that she is going to make it happen. So she's very funny, and obviously she is social media savvy. So she does end up getting Pootie this surgery because she's managed to raise $10,000. And let me tell you what the GoFundMe is called. Pooter needs a poop shoot. So he ends up apologizing and also donating to her cause. And eventually for a checkup appointment, he ends up asking her out and she agrees to go. And they have this magical first date where he takes her on this cruise to raise money for a animal shelter. So that does sound like an amazing thing to do on a first date. And then they end up, like, both of them don't want this date to end. So they end up he ends up finding ways to extend this date. At the end of the date, he drops her off and realizes that she doesn't have any furniture in her place, and she tells him that she's moving to California. So they are both in Minnesota, as I think all of Abby Jimenez's books are. So because her mother has amnesia and she has forgotten Samantha, and she wants to help her family take care of her mom and also try and hopefully get her mom to remember her. So she tells him, you should just forget about me. But of course he cannot, and she also can't. So where I'm at now, he actually has flown to California to spend the weekend with her. And that is where I'm at. Both of them obviously, or he doesn't talk to his parents because they were abusive, like physically, mentally, psychologically, any kind of abuse. We haven't really delved into that too much. He just told her that. And he also, it's interesting because he's not really a people person. He's more like a animal person. He loves animals because they don't lie to you. Like if they don't like you, they will let you know, and they will also let you know if they do like you. Whereas humans, obviously, humans have been known to lie in ways, even if they're smaller, like little white lies or bigger lies. And he just likes the simplicity of animals. And also, he finds it hard to trust people. The only people he really trusts are the people in his friend group and Samantha for some reason, because he, in this one date that they spent together, he has told her things that he hasn't really told anybody outside of his friend group. So that's also an interesting dynamic. Like, he feels like he can be himself with her. Samantha is hilarious. And Abby Jimenez in general is hilarious. I always find myself laughing out loud in her books, even though most of her books do tackle hard topics. So now where I'm at now, Samantha's with her family, and I do like the family dynamic. I like the relationship she has with her brother, even though we only got to see like 2 scenes of them. I think it seems like she gets her humor from her family. And yeah, I don't know how, right now where I'm at, I don't know how they're gonna get an HCA, because his life really is rooted in Minnesota, because that's where his friends are, and he just recently opened this vet clinic. She, for the foreseeable future, needs to be in California, so we'll see. Yeah, I guess those are my thoughts so far. Obviously, I'm enjoying it. I love her writing style. I love her sense of humor. It's funny because, although I do have to say, and I know it's fiction, but I have had a similar kind of date experience where I went on this date with this guy, and we had it almost felt magical. Like, it was a date that just didn't end. Like, I believe the date was like 12 hours or something. Is that correct? Yeah, at least like 10 hours for sure. Like, we just kept doing something else. Anyway, without getting into specifics, I don't know if I would follow this guy to spend a weekend with him after just that one date. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would follow him to a different place to spend the weekend with him just after that one date. You know what I mean? Like, I get it if you've known each other for a while. I mean, and yes, technically they've had other interactions, but only 2 other interactions, one of which was disastrous. Anyway, I'm just trying to think back on what I would have done. I don't think I would, honestly. But anyway, obviously this is fiction, and he does feel like there's something special about her and between them. Although I have to say, I did feel that way about my date. Anyway, that doesn't matter. This is not about me. This is about Samantha and Xavier. I like them so far. He has a dog, which that is also such a cute story. So I think I talked about it in my update. If not, so he adopts a dog whose owner wants to get rid of him because it was her mother's, and she doesn't want to take care of the dog anymore, even though the dog is 4 and very healthy. So he ends up pretending that he actually did euthanize the dog, and then now he owns the dog, but he needs to pretend it's not the same dog. So he gets him like a goofy ass haircut, and he needs a new name for the dog. And Samantha, since she is so good at coming up with like cheeky names and stuff for the brand, she helps him with that. So yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it. Obviously, like I said, I'm taking my time with it. So maybe I'll update you once I'm like on page 200 or something. And if not, I'll just tell you my final thoughts at the end. I am almost on page 200. I'm on page 195 of Say You'll Remember Me. Don't mind my bookshelves. I'm currently rearranging my bookshelves because I did an unhaul, which will be up on the channel next week. But I just have like a lot of empty, well, not a lot, but a more empty space on my shelves that I need to find. Like, I need to just rearrange the books. Also, look at my mug. It's a Spy Family mug. I am in love with this mug. I love Spy Family. Okay, I recently started watching the anime, which I read the manga and I loved it. I didn't think I could love anything more than the manga, and it has been proven wrong by the anime. I fucking love the anime so much. So I bought a bunch of Spy Family merch, and I'm not mad about that at all. Anyway, moving on. Say You'll Remember Me. I don't think this is going to be my new Abby Jimenez book because it makes me so unbelievably sad. This is such a sad book. And I know her other books have also been sad, but I just think this hits me harder because I relate to this book a little bit more than the other books I read by her. Although I do have to say, I mean, I say she's my favorite author, she is, but I've read 3 of her books. I've only given one 5 stars and the other 2 4 stars. I just really love her writing style. I think she's very funny. And this book started off really funny, like the first 5 chapters. And even like when they are actually together, it is heartwarming, it's funny, but like the crux of the matter is she lives in California, he lives in Minnesota. Like so far where I'm at in the story, there really is no, like, and she says it herself, long distance can work if somebody goes to school for a bit or has something else where there's a clear ending to it. Like there is a realistic timeline of them actually coming back. Whereas for her mother, yes, she has amnesia, but she's still very young. Like there's a possibility her mom could live for years with this disease, and she wants to be there as much as she can. Even though her mom can't remember her, she wants to still have memories with her mom. He just started off this veterinary clinic, so if he sells it now, he will lose like 100K or something. So he needs, like, it's a new business, he needs to put in the work, it needs to make a profit before he can realistically sell it. So at least for the next couple of years, there's no way in hell that they can actually, like, one of them can move for the other. Plus, all the scenes with her mom and the way her family is dealing with that is very heartbreaking. So for those of you who don't know, I have somebody very close to me who also, this person doesn't have amnesia, but definitely struggles with their mental health. And that is just something that has been the case ever since I remember. So on the one hand, I don't know any better, but on the other hand, it goes through ups and downs. When this person is doing well, like it just hits harder when this person is not doing well, you know what I mean? So in that case, I can relate to that. It just, I don't know, it's so difficult seeing somebody who you've looked up to, who's your mom, who's always been the one to take care of you, now not being herself at all, and, you know, hurting you in some ways, and hurting herself, obviously. So I don't know, it makes it a difficult book to read, honestly. Also, I'm reading it pretty slow. On the one hand, kind of like in the beginning, it was because I was savoring it. Now it's because I know heartbreak will ensue once I read it. Once again, right now where I'm at, I don't see any way of them actually being together, even though they are trying. Yeah, this guy is a simp for her, though. I don't know. On the one hand, I really like it. Like, I wish I had a guy who would do the things Xavier does for Samantha. Like, he's willing to do anything for her. He's so perceptive. He knows exactly what she needs when she needs it. He is just the perfect man, in my opinion. The way he wants to work for this is just commendable, in my opinion. But then on the other hand, I'm like some parts of it are a little bit unrealistic, but I mean, that's why I'm reading romance. Not everything is realistic. One criticism I do have is that we don't really see him spend any real time with his friends. Like, he talks about it. He talks about it when he's with Samantha, saying, you know, I spent the weekend with my friends. I did this with my friends. I really would like to see him actually interact with his friends. So far, we've only seen him interact with his friends in like one scene. And that was pretty brief, considering that was on his first date with Samantha. And we do see, obviously we see a lot of her and her family, yet we never really see him spend any quality time with his friends. Like, I would like just a scene of him with his friends discussing whatever, because they are very important to him. His whole entire life, they were the only ones that were really there for him. So I don't know, I get that's a lot, that happens a lot with a lot of romance novels, where we spend more time with the female, like if it's a heterosexual relationship, we spend more time with the female point of view and her friends. But especially since I have a feeling we're gonna follow the rest of his friends, I really want to know more about them. And so far, to me, he just feels like, I feel like she's a more developed character than he is. He just, to me, seems like a character in a way, where she feels like a fully fleshed out person. We know a little bit about his past, obviously, but like, what is he doing like right now? Like, the only thing he's doing right now is working. And we know that he loves animals, but other than that, I've said it before in a lot of my videos. In romances, what really helps develop characters is not just their interaction with their significant other. It's a lot of the time it's the interaction with the character and other people in their lives. And obviously in his case, we don't really have, he cannot interact with his family, obviously, but he has a solid friend group. I just don't understand why we don't get to see more scenes of them together. Maybe we'll get that towards the latter half. We'll see. But so far, I just feel like this is very, very heavy and a lot of sad things with like sprinklings of like a few beautiful moments between them. Let me read you a quote. If she sent me away, I was going to be condemned to think about her for the rest of my life. This was what they meant when they talked about the one who got away. She's the woman you never stop remembering. The one who haunts you. The one who stays at the front of your mind even when decades pass. And I had to figure out how to make this work. I had to. I didn't have any choice. So he's obviously head over heels for her. Yeah. Also, now that we're talking about it, I wish we got more interactions with him and his dog. Like, he's literally here on the front of the book, yet we spend more time with Pootie. Or Pooter. I call him Pooter. And Pooter is not even on the front of the cover. So yeah. So far, like I said, it's not going to be a 5. I think it's going to be 4, maybe even a 3. We'll see what the second half brings. And actually this edition, which is the Piatka's UK edition, has the situationship at the end. So if you've watched my review of Just for the Summer, then you know how angry I got that, or how annoyed I was that the novella between Maddie and Doug was only in the Target edition. Like, I went on a rant about these bonus chapters, and especially ones you can only get in a particular country. It was just getting on my last nerves. So if you, like me, was annoyed by that, you can, like, it's at the end of the book. I did read it already because she did put it out as an ebook. It was fine, but I mean, I just don't really like these bonus chapters in special edition books that you only can get in certain countries. It's annoying. I feel like special editions should just be like different covers or like different editions of the book, but I just think the entire content of the book should be the same no matter which edition you buy, because I don't like it when people in America get an extra chapter just because they live in America and the rest of the world cannot get access to that. So that's just my 2 cents. So yeah, you can, if you were interested in Maddie's story, then you can read it. If you have the UK, like if you get the Piatka's edition, it's at the end. I don't know if the same is true for the US edition. So anyway, I guess I'll just update you once I finish. And maybe you'll see that I have rearranged these books, because I'm gonna do that now. Alright, you might think that I have not moved from my spot, but as you can see by the look of my bookshelves, I did rearrange most of it. I still have a couple of the lower shelves to finish, but I'll do that tomorrow. I finally finished Say You'll Remember Me, and this is a 3-star. In fact, I was debating whether or not I should give it a 2-star, but I think that's too harsh, because there were like a lot of things I did love about this book, but I don't know. Like, this at one point just read a little torture porny in a way. Like, I don't know how many times a character can get hit while they are already down, but Abby managed to do it. Like, for both characters, but at one point, especially for her, I was like, okay, surely not one more bad thing can happen, and then it did. And I was like, this is just not fun. This book made me so sad when I went into it thinking I was gonna be giggling and kicking my feet. I know that's not generally, like, usually her books have heavy topics, but most of the time I feel like it is a little bit more balanced. This just at one point was just depressing thing after depressing thing after depressing thing after depressing thing, and at one point there was nothing enjoyable about this book at all. And especially seeing how things were eventually resolved, I'm like, then why did one character literally almost die trying to sustain this relationship when the fix was this easy. I don't know. Like, and the thing is, so this is 350 pages. There was one thing that could have made this book a little bit more palatable, but that thing got canceled. And instead of that happening, another depressing thing happened. Whereas I feel like all the depressing things could have still been in this book, but the one fun thing that they had planned to do could have still happened, and this book would have been 50 pages longer, and it would have been about 400 pages. No, in fact, that would have made the book maybe 20 pages longer, so then this would have been a 370 page book, and that would have been fine. It would have been a little bit more balanced. This was way too skewed on the depressing side, and I don't know, I didn't really love it for that. Xavier, I did. I mean, I love both characters. It's just at one point I was like, okay, I'm sorry, you have not convinced me enough that this relationship is worth the amount, like, is worth almost dying for, you know what I mean? Because we never really got to see, like, at one point, even the moments they spent together, she just was almost like fade to black in a way. Like, I feel like we focus way too much on heavy, depressing things and less so on the romance. So in that case, I don't really know if I would qualify this as a romance. Yes, it does have an HEA. Yes, it is about them trying to work it out. But like, I would say 60% of this book is just Samantha trying to deal with a mother who has amnesia and with her family and everything that comes with that. The other 30%, I guess, is about Xavier almost killing himself to be with her. And then the other 10, I would say like the other 20% is Xavier almost killing himself to be with her. And then the other 20% is actually cute moments of them together. I think I've summarized that right. I do have to say, speaking of Xavier, if I could find a man to put in half of the effort that Xavier puts in his relationship, he would get a blowjob every day of the week. Like, the amount of things this man was willing to do to be with the woman he loves is commendable. But I mean, it's clear that he's a fictional man written by a woman. Nothing makes me sadder because the last release of hers was my favorite book I read in 2024, just for the summer. Yes, that also had some depressing things, but I felt like that book was more balanced. We got to see, and I get this is a long distance relationship, but that shouldn't matter for the pages, you know what I mean? Like, in books, you can have like 3 chapters for like a single day, you know what I mean? Yes, I get that their lives were not balanced because it was a long distance relationship and there was no clear sight to that long distance relationship ending, but I just needed to root for this relationship. And in the beginning I definitely did, but towards the end, all the other things got, like, the relationship just got overshadowed by all the other shit that was happening. And I get it, it's real life. Sometimes you get like life doesn't, like, unfortunately life isn't balanced. Like, it's not like, okay, a bad thing happens and then a good thing will happen and then a bad thing will happen and then a good thing will happen. No, sometimes it does, like, life sucks so hard that bad thing after bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happens. I get that. But I don't really like reading about it, is all. Like, I go into these romances to escape. And I have read 3 other books by her that, yes, sometimes in those relationships, I also was reading it and thinking, how in the hell are they gonna get their HEA? Like, for example, in Part of Your World, I was also reading that book and thinking, how are they gonna make this work? But there was enough in that book that was fun and lighthearted alongside some bad things. Yeah, this, I just, like I said, I didn't feel balanced. It felt like 60% just sucky things, and it just made me sad. Like, even finishing it made me sad. Like, I'm still sad, which sucks for me because the next book I'm going to be reading is Sunrise at the Reaping, or as some people have been calling it, Sunrise at the Weeping. So I'm just going to be sad for the next couple days. Hopefully the book I read after that will give me reasons to giggle and kick my feet. Having said all that, I still love Abby Jimenez. I still love her writing style. I will still pick up anything she will write in the future. And maybe this year I will pick up her first series. I know that a series doesn't get the best reviews. I know book 2, actually only book 2 is the one I'm really interested in. The first and third book I'm not really, but it's her. I want to read her entire backlist. Maybe I can read her novella too. Anyway, I don't know. Right now I'm just mentally, emotionally exhausted from reading this book. 3 stars. I would say pick it up. And I would still recommend it. I just say adjust your expectations going into it. Just go into it knowing that there's going to be a lot of heartbreak and sadness. And there's just going to be a little bit less focus on the relationship, in my opinion. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you read this book, what your thoughts were. And 3 stars means I still enjoyed it. Like, it's a good book. I can definitely see the merits. She still has a wonderful writing style. I still found myself laughing out loud a couple times. Like, even during like the grips of the most depressing parts, I still laughed out loud. So she does, like, I really love her sense of humor. So leave all your thoughts down below. If you're down there, leave me a musical note. Like, leave me a music note emoji. Or no, leave me a headphone emoji in the comments. If you read this book, then you know why. It's one of the scenes that made me giggle. So yeah, leave all your thoughts or a headphone emoji in the comments. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.